Welcome to the Bougie Black Brother Network. Good evening and welcome to Urban Lifestyle Cafe. I'm Michael, your bougie black brother, and I'm here with my co-host and wife, Alicia.
Hello.
And we just got back from seeing one of my favorite directors, one of the most creative, fun directors. There's not a lot of fun directors. There's dramatic and action and all of that, but one of the fun directors, Wes Anderson, and his new release, Isles of Dogs. One I was looking forward to see because when I found out it was Wes Anderson and he was doing another stop action animation, I was like, wow, he's doing some cool stuff again, because he kind of mixes it in with his other ones. He had a previous stop animation, but I didn't get to see that one, so I gotta go back and find that one as well. But Isle of Dogs, so this is a little different because I'm really biased. So my first question for Alicia is, did you like it?
I really liked it. It was interesting though, because I thought it was gonna be like a cartoon, but it really wasn't a cartoon.
Nope. It was a mature animated movie.
Very mature.
Yeah.
Very mature. This is not for kids.
So it's for
kids.
It'll look like a kid movie and a kid can watch it, but it's really an adult movie because even the storyline and the plot ways it was set up, it's really for adults. It's a really adult movie.
I love the way they talk. It wasn't the funny talk for.
No, it was actual conversational.
Yes.
So let me back it up because I just needed to hear that from Alicia, because sometimes she'll say she like it, but then sometimes she seems like she like it and be like, no, it was okay. I didn't like it that much. But anywho, so like I normally do, here's a little summary of the movie. When by executive decree, all the canine pets at Megasaki City are exiled to a vast garbage dump called Trash Island. A 12-year-old Atari, and he's the actual nephew of the mayor of Megasaki, sets off alone on a miniature junior turboprop plane and flies across the river in the search of the bodyguard-dog Spots. There, with the assistance of a pack of newly found mongrel friends, he begins an epic journey that will decide the fate and future of the entire Prefecture. What the fuck is that? But anyway, ran into that last word. I was like, oh, what the hell? But so that's really what it was. It started with, hey, look, there's a decree that the dogs had some kind of disease, so they banned them from the island. But long time ago, they was at war with the dogs. So the dogs was like almost like people, and the regular people was like, we don't want y'all around. Get the hell out of here. So they was at war, and then the war stopped, and the dogs was able to be chilling with the people and kind of domesticated. And then, but the family was Kobayashi. I think it was Kobayashi. They was like, no, we don't want these dogs around. Yeah, Mayor Kobayashi. Yeah, Kobayashi. That was so cool. Anyway, so then the journey starts with the dogs. It was all about the dogs. It wasn't about anything else. And if you follow movies, you will know exactly who the dogs were. If you listen to their voices, you'll be like, oh, that's such and such. Oh, that's such and such. And it was just fantastic. The feeling of the whole movie, I just enjoyed it. And I think one of the things that, Alicia, I didn't tell you that I noticed was they use a lot of great animal mannerisms. that dogs really
yeah.
do.
Yeah, they
you know,
sure
when
did.
dogs like look like, what the fuck is going on? And they just sit there like, what the fuck is going on?
That was cool though.
Yeah, so
they sat up.
They sat up like, hey, let me tell you, and then they'll come toward, and then they sit like a dog, and I was like, that's what dogs do though. And then they hear something and they go like, oh shit.
But they had some other stuff in there that was really crazy.
So so you can start. I'm just complimenting, but I just wanted to put that in there. So when you first since you were kind of new to it, I kind of saw some previews and really wanted to see it. So when you started seeing the movie, what did you get out of it when you first started seeing it? Not the whole movie, but when you first started looking at it and you was like, what the?
Like, first thing I said, I don't like dogs.
Right. Yeah, I'm not a dog guy either.
I don't like dogs. But it was just like, they were like people.
Yep.
They talk. It wasn't, okay, so this movie was not for children because the dialogue was very, very mature, very, for adults.
Yeah.
I mean, because the kids could not. The kids would not be able
had
to.
adult conversations.
Yes, they did.
They talked about adult situations with dogs, and it wasn't. And here's the other one which I really enjoyed. The dogs didn't talk like, yeah.
No, they didn't.
They was like, hey, did you hear that? Yeah, I know. Hey, let me tell you something. Did you hear about that? No, I didn't. Tell me. And they were talking like human beings, but when you saw the dogs, they were still dogs.
Yeah.
So it was they talk like human beings, but they act just like dogs. And then they act like dogs, and then they start talking, and then you'd be like, they're just like human beings. And you're just like, hey, did you hear the rumor? What's that? There's cannibals. There's some dogs that's cannibals. What? Cannibals? Yeah. What's cannibals? They eat. What do they eat? They eat other dogs. What? and there's a continuous conversation throughout the movie of the one dog always finding out rumors. He's like, hey, did you hear the rumor? And then they all listen to it.
Yeah, he's like, well, I like rumors. I like just listen to rumors.
I'm the guy. I'm just gonna listen.
And then it was like, then the robot. Remember the dog robot?
Yeah, the dog robot.
There was like, was it 5 of them? Yeah, it was five dogs,
yeah,
right?
It was 5 dogs.
And it was like, yeah, a scrap. They call him the scrap dog, or what do they call him?
No, he was a stray.
Oh yeah, they called they
what like, to say, but he is a stray. They was like, oh, and then the dogs looked away like, oh shit, oh boy, he called him a stray, because all the other one was pretty domesticated.
Yeah, they had their dog tags on. They had their dog.
One of them was like a movie star.
Yeah.
The other one was like in a really sophisticated house, and
like the female dog, she was like so cool.
Nutmeg.
Yeah,
she was a show dog. That was I keep forgetting her goddamn name.
Johansson.
Yeah, Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, Scarlett Johansson.
And she was so cool because once you hear her voice, you're like, that's Scarlett Johansson. She was like, hey. He was like, hey. I heard. Yeah, she said, "What you don't know anything about me?"
I heard you.
You got with Felix. You heard wrong. He was like, what? He's like, so I'm gonna leave. Hey, what's your name? She said, you're supposed to know me. So why are you asking me my name? I was like, and these was dogs. And I was like,
I understand you was a show dog. Can you do something for me right now?
Yeah. Could you show me?
Show me something. It's like, and then she
said, no, I don't know you well enough to do that. But then before she left,
she did something.
I love that part too. Before she left, she's like, well, I'm gonna show you this. And then she just stand on that. She said, what I'm doing right now is I'm juggling balls on I'm balancing a ball on the tip of my nose while standing here doing that. Can you picture that?
And then you see the picture
right above his head, and he go, yes, I can picture that. I was like, how fucking cool is this?
And I like the part where it's like, okay, the stray has to fight the robot.
Oh yeah, they was like, hey, they're getting ready to take him away. Hey, look, let's make the decision. We'll take him, and what was his name? what's his name? Chief, we'll fight the robot. He was like, hey, what? Wait a minute. Why do I get it? He said, you don't want to like the fight. He said, no, I don't. He said, all in favor. So that's Chief fights the robot. Say I know. He was like, hey, no.
Hey, he fight the robot.
He fought the robot, but that robot beat the hell out of him.
That was so funny.
It was the relationship of the stray dogs that worked together, and he was like, he would say, hey, we're alpha dogs, so we shouldn't be talking to them like that. And then they had a disease, and their disease make them act a certain way, but all throughout the day would like have like a little sneeze. They'd be like, and they always do like that. So they had the disease if they just sniffed and do anything like that. But anyway, as you go through this movie, when the little boy arrived, the other 4 dogs, that was the domesticated dogs, were like, no, we got to help him. This is a boy, and he's trying to find his dog. We got to find him and his dog, And,
they did.
Chief was like, no. I never had a master, and I don't kneel to anyone.
Right.
And they was like, what's the matter with you? He said, don't mind that dog. He said, don't mind that dog. He's crazy. But they all wanted to help the boy except for Chief, because Chief was always astray.
Remember, the boy had the little screw in his head.
Oh yeah, because he was coming in and the plane crashed, and they was watching it. It was like, whoa, look at that. And then one of the wings fell off. He said, oh, and then all of a sudden it was like, zzz, and then it hit the ground like, doof. And then the dog turned toward the camera and was like, whoa. I was like, that is so great. It is so the what made it more exciting was the mannerisms and the dialogue, that they just talk with each other, but then they talk with each other based on being dogs.
Right.
They really didn't talk to each other like humans. They had human dialogue, but based on being dogs.
That's exactly right.
And it worked so well, because even though you heard them as humans, their conversation was all built on being dogs. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of like, wow, look at this. And he was like, hey, you got a flea on you. And he just grabbed him, and then he just spit it out. And while in the middle of the conversation, and I was like, what the hell? So, but as this went along, when the boy crashed, he had a screw in the middle of his head.
Yes.
And he was talking Japanese. For a while, you thought they understood what he was talking about. They just kind of listened and then kind of went along and whatever. But then in the middle of the movie, they was like, I wish somebody knew what language he was speaking. I was like, I thought these dogs knew it. I was like, what the hell is going on? So it was weird, because it made you assume so many things. And then back on the island, they was trying to eradicate all animals, all dogs.
Right, because they were cat
secretly
lovers.
They were cat lovers.
Yeah, they were
and
cat
then you
lovers.
see the cats, but the cats really didn't say anything. Mm-hmm. But you could see that the cats was always with their masters and everything like that. But so a lot of standouts. Bryan Cranston, if you know Breaking Bad, he played Chief, which was the stray dog. And Rex was almost like the semi-leader of the other 4 dogs. That was Ed Norton. So when you hear that was Ed Norton. And then you have the other 3 dogs was Jeff Goldblum, Bill Murray, and Bob Balaban. You've seen him. I don't think he has a good familiar voice, but you've seen him act. So that was really, really cool. And then you had Greta Gerwig, the one who wrote what was that, the girl, the movie that we see, not I, Tonya, but the other one. She named herself, she was from Sacramento and all that.
I forgot the name of that one. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, she named herself something.
Yeah, that's a teenage movie.
Yeah, the teenage movie. But that was her movie. But she's an actress anyway. So, she voiced over Tracy Walker, which was the little girl from the exchange student from Cincinnati, Ohio. And she was there. And then the interpreter, who was interpreting everything that Kobayashi was saying, that was Frances McDermott from 3 billboards.
Right.
So
Okay.
that was her and everything. Then Scarlett Johansson, she was Nutmeg, and F. Murray Abrams was Jupiter, which was the he knows it all. Yeah, they come to me for advice. And then the little dog was like, she sees the future. And then one of the dogs was like,
it was
the
Oracle.
She sees the future. She said, no, she's the only one that can understand TV. So she was stood by the TV and listened to everything and say, it's going to snow tomorrow. They was like, oh, wow. She said, nah, she's the only one that can interpret what the TV is saying. So Yoko Ono was on there. Assistant scientist Tilda Swinton was the Oracle. So as she actually talked here and there, I couldn't catch that because, that voice she's not that unique of a voice that you were like, oh, that's her. But Ken Watanabe, he was the head surgeon. And then they had a couple of other ones. Courtney B. Vance was the narrator. So when you hear him talking about
you knew who the voice was.
You knew
I was like,
that
yeah,
was
that
him.
was cool.
Yeah, that's Courtney Vance. And then Spots was Liev Schreiber, which was he plays on that show on, is it Showtime? Ray Donovan.
Yeah.
So he plays Ray Donovan. Liev Schreiber. He played Spots. So when they found Spots, he was like, hey, I'm Spots, but you're going to have to take over from my job and blah, 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 blah. So, but it was when you see the movie, it was fun. It showed about courage. It showed the camaraderie of the dogs to come together, even though the one dog was like, man, I ain't got time for all of this.
But it also was very Japanese-like, but in English.
Yeah. So there wasn't any. There was limited subtitles. He even kind of put some layouts at the beginning of the movie, like the dogs are speaking their language and they will be speaking in English, but everything else we will have an interpreter and blah blah blah. So they went through all of that, but majority of the movie they were talking Japanese.
Yeah.
And you either had to assume what they were saying or the interpreter would speak out.
But I like that.
I think that was okay.
Yeah, because the little boy was the only one speaking Japanese. And then it was, sorry, I'm wrong. He was one of them amongst the dogs.
Yeah,
the dogs spoke, all the dogs spoke English.
Yep. But back on the island.
Yeah, everybody, except for the interpreter, the lady.
The interpreter and the exchange student.
Right.
Yeah, so those are the two that spoke English. And everybody else spoke Japanese.
Right.
So, but it didn't hurt the movie, though. It really didn't hurt the movie the fact that they were speaking Japanese. It was okay. Because what you was wondering about is
you knew what they were talking about.
Yeah.
You understood what they were talking about because how he made them move or things that he did around them.
Yeah. So when the cards came out, the cards was in English. Well, a portion of it was saying cured or blah, blah, blah. Then it went from there.
He put it in the machine and it did something.
Yeah,
then
it did something.
To the next,
and then
he's like, count the card. Yay! And then the next one, they put in the machine. They did something. And then it's like, okay, it did this. It didn't need, you did not need to understand what they were saying.
Yeah, because you got it. You actually, you saw it, you got it, you was fine with it. Which was like pretty amazing that you can go through, like, we'll see Japanese movies, but there's subtitles so you can follow along. There's never a time that they kind of don't talk and have you look at it while they're talking. But the subtitles was there. But here he did it flawlessly, and it was kind of like it was just so well done, and it was creative because he the one who wrote this.
I think he did.
I think he wrote it, directed. Yep, he wrote it and directed and executive produced it. And there was a couple of people that helped him write it, but overall, yeah, it was just him. He did the screenplay, he did the story, then he did the screenplay. So this was his movie, which I think was an amazing movie. But yeah, this is one of them you just got to see because it's a simple movie. A little boy trying to find his dog. He finally finds his dog. Come to find out there's a conspiracy to kill all the dogs. The dogs come together and rebel, and they build ships and then float toward the island to kind of fight
wasn't that
off.
cool?
Yeah, that was just
like
crazy.
you saw them build one boat,
But
and
you didn't
then,
realize that they was building a whole bunch of boats.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay,
oh man, there's a bunch of dogs on these boats.
Yeah, and they heading to the city. Okay.
So really, really good. And again, you don't need to know everything. These were dogs. Come on now. You don't need to know as much. These were dogs. But these dogs made sure you knew what the hell was going on. And they were smart enough, and he made them smart enough to say these dogs had a purpose, and this is what they're doing. And they had a purpose, but yet they loved the people who they was with, masters or whatever they called them. They loved them, and the people loved them back. They were dog lovers, as opposed to the cat lovers. And at the end, all the cat lovers went to jail. That was in charge because they loved the cats and not the dogs. But they was in jail with their cats. So, but overall, baby, what did you give this one?
This was really good. I give it a 9.
Me too. I love this movie. I
very good.
really, really enjoyed the hell out of this movie. And it was so funny. It was so touching.
I will watch this over and over.
This is a movie that exactly.
I mean, I would not get enough of this movie
because it was just so fun.
So I like dogs
like
in the movie.
No, I like dogs if they can talk. So somebody find me a talking dog.
Man, them dogs is like, yeah, I can have a pet on the TV from Isles of Dogs instead of.
That's what I'll take.
That's as far as it goes.
I don't even care if it's a mutt or whatever. As long as that dog can talk, I am good, dude.
It was a really, really good movie.
And there was a real touching part that he put in there that I thought was like amazingly done, because when the boy Akira, who is it? Akira? I think his name is
Atari.
Atari. His name was Atari.
Yes, Atari.
Yeah, Atari was injured in the train, and they say, well, we're going to give you a bodyguard dog. And he was all wrapped up and, in the hospital, and he made the dog, and the dog came in and said, I'm going to be your bodyguard dog, and blah, 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 blah. And then the dog came to him, or he was like, her. He said something in Japanese, and he came, and the dog came and licked his hand. And then he rubbed the dog, and then the one of the head guys came in and said something in Japanese, basically saying, this is not your pet. This is your, what you call a dog.
Right.
This is not a pet. So the dog went back to the end of the bed, and then the one guy came in and gave him like a headset. And then he put the headset on the dog. And then the little boy was talking, and you don't know what he said, but the dog kept saying, I understand. And I understand. Yes, I understand. And the dog started crying. So you knew the boy was telling him, you mean more to me, or something like that. And the dog was just, I understand. Yes, I understand. And he just started tearing up and crying. And I was like, how cool was that? You knew the boy was telling him something by the reaction of the dog, without knowing what the boy was saying.
Yeah.
And it was just, I was like, damn, that's really, really cool. What a great writing that he did right there. And it's not like, okay, let's take 2 and get the dog to, I want him to cry. It was animation, so he wrote it right into the animation.
Right.
But the feeling was, wow, this was really emotional. He's saying, this is the dog that's going to be part of me, and I want to tell him how much he means to me. And the dog was like, gotcha, and it went from there. So, but very, very good movie. And again, it's a 9 because I'm gonna, whenever it comes on, these are one of those movies, when it comes on, I gotta see it.
Yeah,
when it comes on,
it was really good. So even if you have to wait for it to come on HBO, Stars, whatever it is, you know that it's a good movie.
Yeah, and most people don't like, animation or anything like that. Or
this is a totally different kind of animation.
This is totally different.
Totally different kind of animation.
And the stop action animation is something really, really different that a lot of people aren't really accustomed to. So really, really good. Very good. Worth seeing. This one, I would go to the movies to see it again. Just like Ready Player One. We just seen two of them that was like, oh my God, this was so good. I want to see it again.
Me too.
This is the other movie that I said, yes, I want to see this one again. And this is going to be like part of that rotation type thing, like the Grand Budapest Hotel. If that came on, I'm watching the whole thing. And that's one of his movies as well. And Moonrise Kingdom was good, but not as good as the Budapest Hotel. And now this one is like one of my favorites. And it happens to not be a movie. It's a stop action animation.
Yeah.
So really fucking amazing. Amazingly done. The critics really liked it as well. It didn't make a lot of money because it was, again, it's fighting against a whole lot of stuff.
But it
right
didn't
now.
Go fully open, and it didn't go to all the theaters. Remember, we had
until I think this week.
Yeah,
right?
it was
limited release.
It was limited release,
and
that's
then
why
it was semi-limited, and then I think it's full release this weekend.
Yeah,
so
it didn't get fully released.
But well worth it. Well worth it. If you see one of his movies, you can go back and know that his previous movies was just as good. The only one I really didn't like too much was Rushmore, and that was back in 1998. I thought the Royal Tenenbaums was pretty good, and that's the one that we need to see. Is Fantastic Mr. Fox. That's the one we did not see, but willing to see that as well. Girl, anything else, baby?
No, darling.
So, Urban Lifestyle Cafe, every Wednesday, check us out. We got movie reviews and all types of TV show reviews. Don't have too much. Lost in Space is coming up, and that's a Netflix show that we really want to see as well. Look forward for any of those TV shows. Well, we want to do one that me and Alicia are probably going to sit down and do is compare Black Mirror to Electric Dreams. We finally got to see all of Electric Dreams, which was really different. I really enjoyed it, but it went two different ways. It was similar in the content, but they were different. And I wanted to discuss that. So we always see the Black Mirror, but this was really different to Electric Dreams, and it was done by, I think it's K. Philip Dix or something like that. Whatever. But we'll probably do a review on that. Leave anything on what's that? On Twitter as well as Instagram. Find BLK Woman, Find Black Woman, and Bougie Black Bro, or bougieblackbrother.com, and catch us under Urban Lifestyle Cafe, or just get it on iTunes, Urban Lifestyle Cafe, and you'll get all of those in order, and you don't have to sort through all of the other podcasts, the music podcast, the political podcast, all the other podcasts that we have on there, but you'll go from there. And that's all we have, and we will see you next week for our next movie review. Thank you.